one anonymous donor paid off 500,000 dirhams of someone else's hospital bill. Who does that?
It's now 45.7 degrees Celsius, and I can see sweat. What do you call that? Trickling down my arm.
Yeah. Doctor, how are you feeling now? Is this something adults can tolerate?
So, dahil phone lang ang gamit namin, wala kayo talagang makikita. Kita nyo yun? Yan. Yan ang Soyuz rocket. So, we are 1.8 kilometers away from the rocket, and we will witness liftoff later. Mabruk!
Hi, I'm Janice, and welcome to my channel. And this channel talks about my transition from being a workaholic who lived a crazy paced life to being a stay-at-home wife with a grace-based, simplified life. To those who don't know yet, I'm a journalist by profession. I worked for 8 years in Gulf News, the UAE's leading news organization, and now I am transitioning. I just recently retired, or I'm taking a, not retired, but I am just taking a mini sabbatical from that, from news reporting. And today, before the month of gratitude ends, which is November, I'd like to talk about the 8 things that I'm grateful for the 8 years that I've been here in Dubai. There are so many things that I'm grateful for the 8 years that I worked in Gulf News. I left just less than a month ago, but I'll only talk about 8 things. 8 things for 8 years, although the list is long. I have a cheat sheet here. I encourage you to do the same, to list down the things that you are grateful for, because time flies by just like that. It flies by, it just goes by like a blur. I came here in Dubai in 2011 as a wide-eyed young 20-something journalist, and now looking back, I'm a 30-something mom to be hopeful, and I just need to slow down and take things slowly. Part of simplified living is welcoming new seasons in your life. But before you welcome new seasons in your life, you have to look back at the lessons that you learned in your past before you go and move forward to your new season. And so these 8 things that I'm grateful for in my 8 years working in Dubai are really very, very important to me as I move on to the next chapter of my life. As I always say, please pardon the makeup. I don't usually wear makeup. I just came from a shoot. That's why I look like this. But yeah, we'll just go ahead. The first thing that I'm grateful for while working as a news reporter in Gulf News is I'm grateful for all the quirky, funny, weird, and maybe embarrassing experiences that I had while I was working. One of the embarrassing things that I did was I drove against traffic on my way to the address hotel. I was going there for an event, and I drove against traffic, and that was so embarrassing. The security guards called me out, and yeah, I just said, sorry, where should I go? Yeah, that was one embarrassing memory. Other quirky memories that I have was when my boss asked me to walk on fire for a story, and he said, initially he just said cover the event, and then on the night of the event itself, he said, why not try walking on fire? And then write a first-person account. And so the gullible me did that. Unfortunately, the story didn't come out. But that was one experience I don't think I'll ever experience outside of my work. Other quirky things, I became a Guinness World Record witness twice on 2 occasions. One was on Christian Hairbus attempt to climb the world's tallest hotel on his bike. And so I was shooting video then, and guess what? Because I was shooting video, I ended up climbing all 2,040 steps with him. The second one was when I covered the world's longest graffiti scroll. That was for the UAE National Day in 2014. And the graffiti scroll was more than 2,000 meters. And if I remember it right, it's equivalent to more than the height of 3 Burj Khalifas stacked together. So that's 2,000 something meters. And why did I become a witness, an official witness? While the adjudicator was measuring the length of the scroll, there were some areas where it was dark. And fortunately for me, I instinctively switched on the flashlight of my cell phone and I used it to help them. And so he said, "Can we use your phone until we finish measuring the whole thing?" I said, "Oh, okay." So I ended up being there with the adjudicator as we measured the whole thing. That was fun. And then after that, he said, "Since you were here, I'd like you to become an official witness to Guinness World Records." So I have to. Those were fun experiences that I had. Oh, one more thing. One more embarrassing experience I had was when I fell on the steps of Burj Al Arab. It was a Chinese New Year event. And I was late and I was the last to enter the hall, and as I was going down the steps, my heel broke and I fell, and our photographer caught me by the hand. Thank God for that. But really, it was a grand entrance. Everyone was looking at me and I just said hello. I just smiled and nodded my head. Yeah. Number 2, I'm grateful for the opportunity to go places. Because of my work, I was able to do so many things and go to places that I think I wouldn't have gone to if not for my work. One of those places was the Management Nature Conservation, where they take care of the private collection of Arabian tars of the UAE's president. Yes, His Highness Sheikh Khalifa. Arabian tars are extinct in the wild, or possibly extinct in the wild, and what they're doing is they're taking care and doing selective breeding and breeding tar so that they can reintroduce them to the back into the wild. So I got to see these animals. I got to see these unsung heroes, people who are doing so much for the species, and that to me is a very, very big deal. Another place that I went to was the Al Bustan Zoological Center in Sharjah. It is a private zoo. It's not open to the public. It's a non-commercial zoo where they take care of more than 1,000 animals, 90% of which are endangered and critically endangered. And so Mayor DeCock, Kate Burns, and the rest of the team, they're doing an excellent job in selective breeding, wherein they take one animal from here and then another animal from another part of the world. They breed it and then they just help in the conservation of the species. Amazing, right? There I saw the okapi. If you see the okapi, it's like a horse and a zebra and a giraffe in one. It's so beautiful. If you touch the fur, it's so velvety, and that really was amazing, just being able to touch the fur of the animal. I don't have pictures because I didn't think of taking pictures when I was holding the animal and doing that. Also, I got to bottle feed a white Bengal tiger, a 5-day-old white Bengal tiger. Apart from that, I also got to go to different trips. I went to Nigeria and met different people. I went to the Philippines for a Dubai Cares event, and that to me was very significant because outside the Dubai Cares event, we went and hiked to Mount Pinatubo with no stretching, again with no proper gear, and it rained, and it was so dangerous because it was raining on our way back. So you can just imagine, we were just wearing regular slippers, and some of our team fell and slipped and all those things, and I can't imagine if something bad happened to us. I don't know. It's just sad if that would be the news that I'd have to write, right? Yeah. And then on our way back, we saw the Americans on their doing their military exercises. They were shooting, they had a helicopter and they were shooting the ground, and we couldn't pass, and we just had to wait until they're all done. Yeah, that was one heck of an experience. Also, I got to go to Moscow and to Kazakhstan.
We're here at the Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center again, and what we have here is a mock-up of the Soyuz capsule. This is the descent module of the capsule, where Haza will sit for 6 hours along with his colleagues, Russian commander Oleg Skripochka and NASA astronaut Jessica Meir.
I got to go to Kazakhstan to see off, not really see off, but yeah, to cover Hassan Al-Mansuri, the UAE's first Emirati astronaut, as he went on his inaugural journey to the International Space Station. So,
Mabruk, mabruk! So we have just seen Hassan Al-Mansuri and the prime crew lift off to space. I don't know why I'm teary. I am very emotional right now, maybe because we followed him for a long time already, and it's just so glorious. We felt the ground shake. We could feel the ground vibrate when it happened so quickly, and so it's so amazing. Praise God.
That was one experience for me, and that experience is really important because that was when I realized that it was time for me to move on.
Iyak ako kanina nung nag-launch na, tas habang umaakyat. Nakakatuwa. Ang galing. Lord, keep him safe. And I pray that he would enjoy his trip there. Hindi ko lang, parang, kasi ang tagal namin siyang sinundan from when it was launched in December. I've been following this news for a long time, so siguro kaya ako nagiging emotional. Kahit hindi ako Emirati, I am proud of him, and I hope that all would go well. So, mabruk Hasa, mabruk.
When the rocket ascended, or when the rocket blasted off to space, that was the time when I said, ooh, it's time. It's really time. And I thank God that I went there, and I thank God that for that experience. Yeah. Okay, so I got to go places. Number 3, I'm grateful for the financial blessings. Through Gulf News and through the work that I did, God blessed us with so many financial blessings. I believe that it is God who gives us the blessings. He just uses your company or the work that you do for you to receive those blessings. And so thank you very much, Gulf News. Because of you, I was able to send my sister to school. My sister studied in Malaysia, and I was able to pay off her college plan, and now she's studying in the UK. So that makes me a very, very proud ate. By God's grace, we were also able to support my mom, and we were also able to buy 2 prime property in my hometown in Palawan in the Philippines. And we were also able, by God's grace, to build a 5-door apartment that we are renting out at the moment. It's a 2-story. It's just a simple 2-story building where we are renting it out to families and to professionals. We're also very, very blessed to be able to invest in the stock market and to have one small business. So all those things I thank God for, and I thank Gulf News for, and I thank my husband for. So yeah, thank you for the financial blessings. Number 4, this one is very important. I'm grateful for the opportunity to warn people through stories that I did. I'm so passionate about safety, so I wrote so many stories about road safety, child safety, and fire safety. For road safety, I remember when I was still new in Gulf News, I think 2 or 3 years with Gulf News, we made ourselves as the guinea pig. Well, I sat inside a car that simulates a car crash. It's a it's a low speed accident simulator, but you'll still feel the pain when you're inside. So I sat there with Ahmed, my brother, Ahmed Ramzan, and it was quite a remarkable experience.
Was mimicking a car driving at a speed of 8 to 10 kilometers per hour that hit a stationary object.
To be honest, I totally underestimated the speed at which we were driving. I thought 10 kilometers is quite slow, but I felt the tug in my chest, and it's quite painful in the waist part, in the waist areas. But it's good that I'm wearing a seat belt. Otherwise, it would have been a different story.
So I also did a story on child safety because I can't stress this enough. My heart bleeds every time I see kids. I hear news about kids dying inside a car because they were left behind, or because they were not buckled up, or they were not placed in child safety seats. So these are things that I'm really passionate about, to tell people that shouldn't be the case. And so for the hot car story, we sat ourselves inside a car that's fully sealed, no AC, nothing, no open windows. We locked ourselves there in the middle of the summer heat, and we tested ourselves, our tolerance in the heat, and how long we can sit there with no AC, just to see if adults cannot handle it, how much more can kids, right? So we sat there with two doctors. One was an emergency trauma doctor, and the other one was a pediatrician, to talk about what happens to the body of the child when exposed to such harsh conditions. And I thank Logan for that. I thank Logan for indulging, and I thank Logan for sitting with me for 20 minutes. It was hell. It was hellish. It was really, really difficult. But then I hope that it does what it's supposed to do, which is to send message to people that you have to take care of your kids. Okay, number 5. I'm grateful that through Gulf News, our readers who were in need of help received the help that they needed. We wrote so many appeal stories, and every time I write an appeal story, it really breaks my heart. But I just pray, before I start an appeal story, I pray that God would extend all the grace that He could extend to me, and to see the story from His perspective, and to be able to write a story that would move hearts of people, so that the people who are in need of help will get the help that they need. And so one story that I will never forget is baby Ethan's story. He was born at 23 weeks. He was a preemie, or a premature baby, and he was just 650 grams when he was born, and he was just as tiny as a 500 ml water bottle. He was just this tiny. If you can just imagine, he was this small when he was born. And so doctors at Prime Hospital and University Hospital Sharjah, thank you very much for taking care of baby Ethan. Thank you for working 24/7 to ensure that he would survive, and he did. The only problem that the parents had, apart from obviously the emotional and physical stress that they had to go through, was the financial stress that they have even until now. But at that point, when we were doing the story, when I interviewed her, I went to the hospital itself, and I spoke to her, and I can still remember how bad I felt while Charm was telling me her story. She told me that she didn't even, she'd do everything just to be able to hug her son. Imagine not being able to hug your son because your son is in a box, so that it could help your baby grow. And so I was just so torn, and the weight of the financial stress was also too much to bear for them. At that point, they were already facing a medical bill of 500,000 dirhams. So when I reached the parking lot, I couldn't do anything except pray. I remember crying in the parking lot, and asking the Lord to send help, send someone who could help them, because that's all I could do apart from writing the story itself. Yeah, and God is so good. After the story was published, I got a call from Romeo, baby Ethan's father. I can still remember how his voice cracked while he was talking to me. And he said, "You won't believe it. Someone went to the 2 hospitals, issued a check, and paid for her bill. Someone who didn't want to be identified, someone who didn't even want his nationality to be mentioned, what he does, and everything else. Someone anonymous with a big heart. And sir, ma'am, I know it's a sir, or maybe a ma'am. If that's you, thank you very much. You have such a big heart, and I pray that the Lord will bless you. I know that God used you to bless this family." And so one anonymous donor paid off 500,000 dirhams of someone else's hospital bill. Who does that? That's not even normal. That's God's hand. You see God's hand in it. So those are the things that I really am so grateful for. I think it happened again when I did a story on Muhammad Siddiq and his son Ibrahim. Ibrahim is a 6-year-old Pakistani boy who was born with Down syndrome, and he also had blood cancer, ALL, leukemia. But his father, we published this story just this year, and his father was facing a hospital bill of almost 200,000. He actually had a hospital bill of more than 300,000. UAE charities were so generous and paid off a huge amount, I think 110,000 already, but he still had 189,000 left. Where will you get that kind of money? We wrote the story, and praise God, God sent help again. I received a call early in the morning from a father, an Indian man, who said that when he read Ibrahim's story, he was crying the whole time. He was crying from 5 in the morning until he reached office. And I asked, "Why, sir? Why were you crying?" And he said, "Because I have a son who also has Down syndrome and leukemia, but the difference between me and Ibrahim was I have insurance cover, and my company has provided it for me. And I really felt bad for them that they don't have anything for Ibrahim." And so he went to office and passed the hat, and they extended help. He personally went to Mr. Muhammad's house in Sharjah, and they handed over the money. And also some people, one person wrote a check of 10,000 dirhams to Dubai Hospital to pay for the bill. And another anonymous donor walked to Dubai Hospital, and issued a check for the remaining balance of, I think, 160 something thousand dirhams. So how did I know about this? The Pakistan Association Dubai, they were already working to help the family after reading the story. And so as soon as they went to Dubai Hospital, the guy I was in contact with said, "You know what? Someone has already come here to pay for the bill. There's no outstanding anymore." And so I'm just so blessed to hear all these stories. I mean, imagine if that was you. How would you feel? How would you feel when readers just extend help like that? Extend help to people they don't know. These are the things that give me a sense of fulfillment. These are the things that are this is what I find rewarding in my job. I mean, in my previous job, when people come together and help others who are in need, when you use God's blessing to bless other people as well, that's just an amazing experience. And I was there to witness that. I was there to see lives transformed because of other people's generosity. I remember when I was there, it wasn't the page ones that I cared about. It's these stories that really gave me joy, made me so happy with the work that I did. So yeah, thank you, Gulf News readers, whoever you are, sir, ma'am, Thank you very much. And there's nothing I can do to repay you. May God bless you. Number 6. Through our stories, we got to influence policymakers. It's just so rewarding every time you hear about the UAE responding to a story that you wrote. Maybe coincidentally, but really, coincidence or not, on October 27, I don't remember, but that was one Sunday when I wrote a story about how to fight debt. And I wrote a story of a Filipina who paid all her 12 credit cards in 10 years by selling rice cakes. Imagine the grit of that lady, of that mother, and hats off to you, ma'am. Hats off to you, really. And so on the day that it was published was the same day that the UAE came out with a new law for insolvents, for people who are facing financial difficulties, and the UAE offered to help by giving you a 3-year period to restructure your loan and fix and help you get a loan to fix your financial situation. And so, coincidence or not, that to me is the UAE responding to our stories and the many personal finance stories that I've done or I did in the past. And so every time that happens, I'm over the moon. We also wrote so many stories about premature babies and the amount of and the hospital bills that they face. I think we did a campaign on that in Gulf News, and just a few weeks later or a few days later, Gulf News came out with a new plan. Not Gulf News, but the UAE government, the Dubai government came out with a new insurance plan that gives an insurance cover for preemies of up to 150,000 dirhams. Again, coincidence or not, I take it as a good thing. Remember when I told you that about the story where we tried a low-speed accident simulator? Yeah, so we republished that on Facebook on the importance of, buckling up, especially for kids, and putting kids in car seats. We republished that in 2017, and just a few days later, the UAE came out with a law that says children under 10 should be should wear seat belts, and those who need boosters and car seats should be placed in car seats and boosters. Coincidence? I don't know. I'm just so glad I'm in a country where the government responds, where the government takes action, where the government really works for the benefit of the people. I'm just so glad. I'm thankful. I'm grateful, and I actually pray for the UAE leadership, and I'm really grateful. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for responding. And I know that there may be other issues, but I know that the UAE is listening. Number 7, I got to meet amazing people who are selfless, who do their jobs, who do their roles in the community, unsung heroes who never hug the spotlight. One of them is Kuya Rey. Kuya Rey is one of a kind, really. He does hospital rounds every day without fail to pray for and take care of Filipinos at Dubai Hospital, even non-Filipinos actually. He is a DHA accredited social worker, and he works closely with different governments, especially the Philippine government, for Filipinos and other nationalities who are having a hard time at different government hospitals here. One of which is, liaising with different hospitals to be able to transfer a patient from here to their home countries when they can, or once it's time for their transfer, escorting patients home, escorting or bringing home remains of expats, all those things. And he does this with no pay. He does this on his own time. He does this voluntarily. He's a volunteer social worker. And so aside from this, when he goes to work in the afternoon, even in the evenings, people come to him and seek help. Who does that? Who does that? Ain't he amazing? Kuya Rey, thank you very much. And every time I remember what they do, I'm just grateful that people like them exist. Also, another social worker is Pam Gauri, who works with Kuya Rey. So they're from different organizations. They're also volunteers, but I shadowed her for a day and I saw just how tiring her work can be, but I never heard one complaint from her. So I shadowed her from the hospital to immigration, back to the hospital, to the airport to escort one patient. And so she was eating lunch on the wheel while driving. Yeah, she didn't have time for herself, yet she was all smiles until 10 p.m. until we said goodbye to each other. Another amazing person that I met was Atty. Barney, who helps people, who is always ready to answer your question and guide you and give you legal advice, and who has helped so many Filipinos with legal advice. Most of them are free. Obviously, in certain cases, he does charge a certain amount, but obviously, ganun naman talaga di ba? But he has done so much for the community, and hats off to him. And hats off also to his team, Ms. Yvonne. They've helped so many people, and they are really, really amazing. Another shout out to Consul General Paul Cortes. I think he's the most hardworking Consul General there is, really dedicated to the community, and he makes sure that he is working 100%, more than that, maybe, to serve the community and to improve services, and also to elevate the Filipino and the Filipino culture here in the UAE context. Other amazing people that I got to work with and I got to meet while there, Dr. Muhammad Tahir, who was always ready to give tips and tricks in ways to deal with bullies, deal with domestic violence, with trauma, with name it, he's there to help. And he told me so many times, if the person you're interviewing needs psychiatric help, tell them to come to me and I'll help. So these people are really amazing. Others are Salem Al Merri. He's the Assistant Director General of the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center. I covered the UAE's trip to the ISS in September. Yeah, and I got to work with them, and he's a person who would always answer your question on WhatsApp, regardless of where he is or what time of day it is. That's the kind of person he is. He's very humble, very approachable, and yeah. I think of all the UAE, of all the government officials that I interviewed, he's the best. Like, he stands out. Go Salem. Last but not the least, number 8, the 8th thing that I'm grateful for working here in Dubai is that I got to meet my good friends in Gulf News. My stay in Gulf News wouldn't have been that amazing had it not been for these people. Sajila, Suchitra, obviously Ali, Prince Ali, all the other people, obviously Leslie, Fermel, Manuel, Phil, Nat, yeah, Sina JR, everyone who was instrumental in, everyone who became friends with me, or everyone who I consider my friend. So these are really amazing people. Even Jumana, Noor, Nurhan, Kuda, Stephen, Logan, and my brothers Atty and Ahmed. Thank you very much for being so amazing. I found a family in all of you guys, and I'm so grateful. I may not be able to mention everyone's names, but I'm really grateful. You made my stay in Gulf News worthwhile. and meaningful. Most especially, thank you to my good friend Sajila. You are unique. There's no one in this world who is like you. You have such a big heart, and Suchitra and Malavika as well. I'm grateful for my friends, my church family, my husband, especially to everyone, all my contacts, all the people that I disturbed, all the people that I called to say, hey, I'm doing a vox pop and I need someone to comment on this, and I know you can talk about, not drinking pop and stuff, Ate Maha, and everyone else that I disturbed, and everyone else that I asked photos from. Thank you very much. And just like what I said, I am moving on to a new chapter of my life. I am taking a mini sabbatical from news reporting. I don't know if I'm going to go back. At the moment, I know that I'm not yet ready, but I'm still writing. I'm writing, and because I cannot not write, I need to have an outlet, and I'm writing all those blog posts in postpraysimplify.com, where I talk about simplified living, expat life in Dubai, most of the things that are new in Dubai, or all the experiences I'll put there, money and stewardship, which is something that I'm extremely passionate about, and it's something that really I wrote about so many times while I was still in Gulf News. And last but not the least is about overcoming infertility. So that's the main reason why I chose to leave work. I chose to become a stay-at-home wife. It's because I want to prepare for conception. I want to prepare as I become a mom in the future, Lord willing. So those are the 8 things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for you for sticking with me. I mean, I'm grateful that you stayed with me until the end of this video, and I hope that you found it useful. I hope that you can write your own list as well. What are you grateful for? Comment down below if you want, or send me a message, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.